Welcome everyone, this is On Just Restart. Yes, there is another rumor, or rather a Best Buy listing, suggesting the Metroid Prime Trilogy HD could finally be coming out. But we've been through this before. We've seen other listings, even from Best Buy. We've had rumors, credible rumors, talk about Prime Trilogy coming out soon on the Nintendo Switch, and it just hasn't happened. So why should it be different this time? Why should we perhaps be thinking that the wait for Metroid Prime Trilogy HD is actually over? To be honest with you, it might not be, but I think there's a chance, and that's exactly what we're talking about today. But before I do, I want to quickly talk about our social media. I have a Twitter page. If you want to see my initial response to the news, you can follow me there. If you would also like to engage in discussion with others who watch the channel, there's a Discord community. It's linked in the description below. And we've also recently started pushing our Patreon page. There are different perks and benefits for those who want to help support the channel a little bit more, such as being credited at the end of our videos, access to the After the Cast series, and also having your own featured topics during the podcast. So if any of that interests you, check it out. It's all linked in the description below. Now, when it comes to Metroid Prime Trilogy HD, it's been the source of a lot of disappointment for me, because on so many occasions there was this credible rumor or leaker talking about they got so many other things right, and they also talked about Metroid Prime Trilogy, and it turned out that one of the few things that they actually weren't right about was Prime Trilogy. We've seen listings before, even from Best Buy. Really, I shouldn't expect this other Best Buy listing to be any different. Why should it happen? Well, I feel like eventually Metroid Prime Trilogy HD will happen, so while many times it's been wrong, eventually I think it will be right. A broken clock is right twice a day, so maybe sooner or later, one of these rumors will be right about Metroid Prime Trilogy HD. And I don't mean to imply that these rumors were wrong. I think initially they were founded in truth. I think there was supposed to be a Metroid Prime Trilogy HD. I think that was Nintendo's plan at one point. However, once Nintendo restarted the development for Metroid Prime 4, those plans changed. Maybe what they were actually trying to do was have Metroid Prime Trilogy HD come out, and that was going to help acquaint new gamers to the Metroid Prime series and bring back old ones and get that hype cycle started leading up to the release for Metroid Prime 4. It would all be a part of their big marketing plan, starting off the Prime Trilogy, and then eventually showing off Prime 4, talking about it, building up the hype, and eventually having a grand launch for Metroid Prime 4, so it could end up being the best-selling Metroid game of all time, which I do think is a given, but that's a topic for another day. The point is, I think what happened was Prime Trilogy HD was simply delayed because Metroid Prime 4 was delayed, and they want them to come out closer to each other, perhaps about a year apart, something along those lines. If my speculation is correct, then that would mean that if we do get some sort of Metroid Prime Trilogy announcement soon, that could mean we're not too far off from getting a gameplay reveal for Metroid Prime 4. Let's say, hypothetically, Metroid Prime Trilogy HD actually comes out this year. Maybe we could get a reveal sometime in 2021 for Metroid Prime 4, or maybe it even could happen this year, and that would be a big surprise as well, but I wouldn't expect it to come out any sooner than holiday 2021, maybe even later, but that's around what I could sort of see the game happening. But of course, that's assuming two things. One, that Prime Trilogy HD does come out this year, and two, that I'm right about how Nintendo wants to space out Prime Trilogy to come out about a year or a year and a half before Metroid Prime 4 to start building up knowledge and awareness of the Metroid Prime series. I think that makes sense, but we'll have to wait and see how things actually play out, obviously. But when it comes to sort of thinking that this Best Buy listing is any different from any previous listing or rumor, well, it is definitely up for debate, because until it's actually announced, we don't know for sure, so of course take any of this speculation with a grain of salt. It's just my speculation. We don't know what's actually going to happen. But I'll say that this listing holds a little bit more weight than previous listings. Let me explain. It's not because this listing is any more special than any other listing, but the circumstances are a little different. The COVID-19 situation in 2020 has been unexpected. People did not see this coming. It's led to all sorts of delays for all sorts of industries, including the gaming industry. And if you look at Nintendo, things haven't been going as we sort of wanted. It's been a little slow. We still haven't gotten a main general Nintendo Direct. Yes, I know we got a Nintendo Direct Mini, but it's not the same. We don't know what's to come for even the summertime or beyond for 2020. This never really happens. Usually by this point we know about the holiday games, and we just don't. The fact is, we're going through a slow period when it comes to big Nintendo games. A lot of that may have to do with the fact that it's hard to develop games because people cannot work in the same space during this whole pandemic. So it may be the case that Nintendo's going to go ahead and try and fill up the year with games that they've already made, since they can't develop new games right now. So they're going to use a lot of repurposed content, things like Tokyo Mirage Sessions, a Wii U port, or perhaps the rumored Pikmin 3 port, or perhaps the rumored Mario remasters, old Mario games, or maybe even another Wii U port, and Super Mario 3D World, which we've already seen listings for, and several rumors for as well, a lot of which are credible reports. We're also getting Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, and I don't mean to slight that game. I think it's going to be an amazing remake. As far as remakes go, it's perhaps one of the most ambitious remakes we've seen from Nintendo, but at the end of the day, it is a form of repurposed content. The point being that these sorts of games, these ports or remasters, are things that are easier to get done than a full new ground up game like Breath of the Wild 2, like Super Mario Odyssey 2, like a Metroid Prime 4. These are the kinds of games that take time to develop, and if developers can't actually be in studio to develop them, then they probably can't come out this year if they even had a chance to come out this year. It wouldn't shock me if Nintendo went ahead and used other content they already had waiting in the background, like the supposed Metroid Prime Trilogy HD that apparently was completed a while ago, and Nintendo's simply been waiting for the right time to release it. Maybe now in 2020, it's the right time because they're going to need something like a Prime Trilogy HD to help fill up the year, because the development for other games may be impacted due to COVID-19. And I hope that's not the case. I'm hoping that the second half of the year is going to be a strong year, and it won't be completely filled with remasters and ports. I'm hoping for some ground up new Nintendo games. Hopefully. But the reality is, COVID-19 is a real issue and it has been leading to delays. So we can't really say for sure. We will have to wait and see what actually happens with Nintendo's plans for this year. But my point is that considering that this could be a year of remasters, maybe it is finally time for Prime Trilogy HD to make its grand appearance. Perhaps. But there's another Metroid game that is supposedly coming out this year as well, a 2D Metroid game. If this 2D Metroid game is actually coming out this year, that might prove to be a little bit of an issue for Prime Trilogy. Considering that neither of these games have been announced yet and we are already in April, I feel like we're running out of time for both these games to come out in this year. There has to be some space between them in my opinion. They're both Metroid games, albeit one would be a 3D Metroid game while the other would be a 2D Metroid game, but still, they need to be spaced out a little bit, I think. So while I do think there's still room for both these games to come out this year, that window is closing really fast, so we're going to need an announcement for at least one of them within the next couple of months, or I just don't think that's happening. And let's just say that 2D Metroid comes out around August or September. That doesn't mean Metroid Prime Trilogy couldn't be far off. Maybe it doesn't come out this year, but maybe it could come out early next year. That still could be pretty cool. Maybe it gets announced in September and it comes out around March or February. That could happen. We get a lot of announcements during the September Nintendo Direct for games that come out earlier on in the year. That could be the case, or vice versa. Maybe we get an announcement for Metroid Prime Trilogy HD around the summertime Direct, the Direct that would be replacing the E3 Direct, and then later on in the year they announce a 2D Metroid and that comes out sometime early next year. That's a possibility and that would be fantastic. At this point, we don't really know what's gonna happen, but if I had to bet, I'm gonna say that at some point this year, we will at least get one Metroid game. It's either gonna be the Metroid Prime Trilogy HD or the 2D Metroid, and once we get one of those, I think the other may not be too far off. It wouldn't shock me if by 2021, we get Metroid Prime Trilogy HD, 2D Metroid, and we at least know about Metroid Prime 4 in terms of what it looks like and how it plays. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think this is possible? Do you guys think that the wait is finally ending for Metroid Prime Trilogy HD? Let me know in the comments below. Anyways, everyone, this is On Just Restart. Thank you so much for listening and watching. I'll see you all really soon. Take care.